Good afternoon, Rando fans. We have a hype race for us tonight, this afternoon, really. My name is Fatasha. I'm joined tonight by Jetters. How we doing? And we're off to the races already.
Yeah, it looks like we're doing pretty good. We got a mirror in Sank chest already, so that's a good start to this race. Both these racers are really good racers. Hime looking to get another win here, and Team Awesome looking to stay undefeated. They're at 5-0 right now.
Yeah, there was some talk back and forth between Hime and Yoshi at the start of this race. Atomizer is one of those modes that can really drive some people a little bit nuts because it throws off a lot of rhythms. So it'll be interesting to see how well these two end up running.
Yeah, and Yoshi taking those bombs that he found in Link's house and going over to Sahasrah's closet to see what's inside. Not much of note, but I'm looking forward to this match. This is going to be a great match.
Absolutely. Early mirror is super interesting to find as well. Just knowing that how many locations that you can completely clear as opposed to kind of skipping over some spots. You know, we have Cave 45, we have Lumberjack, or not Lumberjack Ledge, Graveyard Ledge, other things like that you kind of have to skip over if you don't have early mirror access. So, really anxious to see how these runners end up routing everything together. Really excited for it. We did see an early map check, and I believe, yeah, we have Tower of Hera is going to be one of our useless pendants, but the other two are going to be just regular old crystals. So,
Yeah, so Enemizer, this week's mode, there's a lot that can go on in Enemizer, and looks like Kermit is going to bring over a fish to the bottle vendor to get some a few prizes. You can bring the fish to the bottle vendor to get a boatload of goodies. Usually that's a common tactic to get some early resources in Enemizer. Can be very useful if you've got nothing going in the CAC and you find a fish.
oh, and there's our first glove upgrade there in Blind's Hut, as well as the superior boomerang.
Yeah, boomerang. Early boomerang is very good in Enemizer. It really allows you to kind of push enemies out of the way and stun them, and it's stuff you don't want to deal with. It's a good way to get certain things out of your hair until you get better equipment to deal with it. And it looks like our runners are pretty synced up. So they're going to take this stroll through Kakariko and both kind of grab, all the items. So they'll end up having all the same items, and then we'll see where they go from there. No weapons, so Hyrule Castle is not that tantalizing. Might see Uncle after this. Or go to South Shore. We got a lot of options right now.
Oh, that's a rude. That is a rude chicken hut there.
Yeah, those guards guarding a lamp, they are very aggressive. Those red guards with the spears, they instantly aggro as soon as you walk nearby them. There's no delay. They're on you.
That lamp is interesting to see, though, right out of the gate. So that does unlock some dark rooms. You know what? The back end of Escape is looking pretty attractive right now. I mean, we can at least check those 3 chests that are in the back, and if we get the key, I mean, we have the lamp now, so logically we can go ahead and get Dark Cross. And in this tournament, Dark Cross has, off and on been the source of much consternation for some runners.
Yeah, and we also do have full access. Well, like I shouldn't say full, but we have the ability to go climb the mountain. Within logic, so we can go save the old man, check Spectacle Rock. I don't think our runners will do that right away, but it's definitely an option. There could be something there.
And our first bottle is in the race game. That's, I mean, we'll walk back and turn that in right now. Ugh, that's the worst spot for a bottle, honestly. I think I'd rather leave and then come back. And Yoshi sees that it's a bottle, is going to go ahead and go. Hime went ahead and Blind went for whatever was going to be in the race game, rewarded with the bottle, so he saves a little bit of time there.
Yeah. And it looks like Sick Kid had quite a huge allowance to give, so we're going to get 300 rupees off of Sick Kid, and looks like this will probably be a back of escape play, as you were saying. Nice use of the mirror to get to the front of escape quickly, or front of the sanctuary quickly.
Yep, little known trick. Great knowledge there. I know Hime Kermit, he at one point was coaching some other runners in randomized, so he knows all the sorts of little tips and tricks there. And man, this is a rude back of escape as well.
Yeah, quite an aggressive start to this Enemizer seed, and we got the small key in the back of escape, so Kermit gonna go and check Dark Pack. Gonna have to find a way to get that small key, though, before he does that, and decides, yeah, I don't have a weapon, so scratch that.
And a Lionel down there as well. Oh, this Enemizer, man. Enemizer. It throws off your rhythm so much. You can't just go someplace and expect to be able to deal with everything.
So here we're getting a South Shore play out of Kermit, and then we'll see if Yoshi does the same. This would be the most expected play. Again, you can make some gambles and go up to the mountains, see if something's there, or you could go over to Eastern, or you could do Bomb Escape. But South Shore would probably be the safest, most standard play.
Some soggy bombs in the drowned lake. We see Kermit already stocked up on all the bombs, so going right to this mini Moldorm cave, although I don't know if it's going to be Moldorms. We'll see what we end up seeing here.
Well, this is going to be a hassle. And Kermit taken to death. Got that fairy. Very nicely done on that double kill there.
Oh, very nice. Yep. Now everything's cooperating. He just had to die. That's all.
And rewarded with not a whole lot, unfortunately. We do have Zora money now, so can go check out Zora. At least Kermit can. Yoshi will not have quite enough, but could farm the 20 rupees out from under the rock nearby Ice Rod Cave.
What is the difference there? Did Kermit not buy what the bottle merchant had? Because it's exactly 100 rupees.
You know, that might be it. That's interesting. Oh, Kermit brought a fish. That's what it was. You do get a little bit of money out of the fish.
So Kermit would have gotten an extra 50 rupees there, probably. And then if Yoshi bought bombs, that's the 50 rupees. Okay. I see what's going on. Thank you, chat, for helping us out.
Right. So, looks like Kermit is going to go to the eastern area. Has not checked Sahasrah's closet. Yoshi, however, is going to go for the mountain. Eastern play is not looking as good because he already checked Sahasrah's closet. So he's going to see if there's anything of value on the mountain to bring home.
I'm going to do a quick check over here into the Lumberjack Cave, see what's going on.
Ooh, we got an ether. That's always kind of a rude surprise. You just when you see that, you just cross your fingers and you hope that it's not needed.
That said, it does give you knowledge that you're going to want to go and check exactly, like as soon as you possibly can, you're going to go to Misery Mire and Turtle Rock just to see what they are. Because if you do have to go get it, you want that knowledge as soon as possible.
Yeah, but before getting any of that, we're gonna need a weapon. I mean, our runners have checked so much, and just still do not have a legitimate weapon. We're just still stuck on bombs, and there's Titan's mitts.
Ooh, I hate early mitts. I don't know about any other runner, but early mitts is so rough for me because it opens up so much. Math Girl, one of our wonderful restreamer, cursing everyone in chat.
Well, we got a moon pearl on the Spectacle Rock, so both going to eastern and going up the mountain are the play.
Meanwhile, we're going to see Yoshi go ahead and head into Tower of Hera. Now, it is one of the pendant dungeons, so if we can dodge it, we probably will. And there's one of our two items, just a big 50. Oof. Fall. And a death for Kermit. Ouch.
So Yoshi, trying to kill these enemies here, and they're particularly hard to kill right now.
You got bombs. That's it.
Gets it done and is now headed up to the top here. Looks like Kermit's going to give us our first uncle check.
And man, the allowance he gives us is just not worth it.
All right, so with our combined knowledge, we have Dark World access. But where are the weapons?
I have a nightmare scenario in mind here. Something that I have not seen for a long, long, long time, but it is entirely possible based on the logic.
Well, there's a weapon. B is a weapon.
So, it is entirely possible at this point in time. So we have the mirror, and we have the Titansmiths.
Yoshi getting a little dead rocked here.
Oof. GFE, you know exactly what the nightmare scenario is, my friend. You know. So, there is a particular boss that is vulnerable to bombs. That you can logically be required to use bombs to kill. And that boss is normally located in Desert Palace in Lanmo. Bomb Lanmo isn't in Logic anymore? Did that get fixed? You have no idea how happy I would be if that got fixed. Yeah.
But one thing we could see is, who knows? Maybe all 4 swords are in Hype Cave.
That'd be nice.
So, Kermit going to Sanctuary is going to make that mountain climb. Yoshi is clearing out the front of Escape. So it looks like our weapons are going to be in the Dark World at this point, unless Agina has one, which, I mean, it's just one check, so not too likely. With Titansmiths, not sure where the seed would expect us to go in the Dark World. I guess you can just kind of say, just wander around, pick your poison.
Well, I mean, we will have access to those other spots that I had mentioned earlier, to the K45, to the Graveyard Ledge. With the Titansmiths and Mirror, if we end up getting the flute, that does unlock the Misery Mire area, the Shed, and Checkerboard Cave.
You know what? I will say, like most of the time, when you get mitts super early, the smiths usually have something. I think that might be where the seed is telling us to go.
Tim in chat is asking, where were the gloves? One was in Blind's basement. The other one is in Eastern Palace. So, looks like Escape is just a big, bland no entirely, which is disappointing. But it does look like Kermit is going to have his Moon Pearl here directly. He may not even opt to go into Tower of Hera. We know it's a bust based on what Yoshi did earlier. but this will be Kermit's access to the Dark World. There's our map check. We do have green pendant in Eastern Palace, blue pendant in Swamp. Our 5-6 are Thieves and Skull Woods.
Yeah, it does look like Kermit is going to probably give Hera a try here. You're already up here. You might as well give it a quick check. Maybe not even just go all the way. Maybe you check the first couple of items, especially because you'd have to bomb, everything. And Kermit, looks like he's going to spy that those 50 rupees and say, yeah, that's enough for me.
1 out of the 2 items in there. Yeah, that's good enough. So everything kind of bottlenecking there with the items necessary for progression kind of in very split directions. Kermit is going to grab another fish and says, hey, I have to walk this direction anyway. Might as well get some more bombs because that's our only weapon.
Yeah. So we have 2 checks left in logic here, I believe. We have Zora and we have Agina. I think that's all we have left. And, well, besides the Dark World. So that's what Kermit, is thinking. I'm just going to go to the Dark World. There's far more checks to do there than there is in the Light World at this point.
Get the rude roller there a little bit.
So if you believe the statistics, Skullwood statistically has one of the best chances of having progression based on the 50,000 seed analysis that they did. And you know what? I don't know about you, but I'd say that seems accurate. I usually find something. Maybe it's not the most mind-blowing, but there's usually something in front of Skull Woods.
Well, there's one of our items. And the hand grabbed him as he was falling down. Decides, hey, I got 1 item. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, it looks like Kermit skipping out on some checks here is definitely looking to shave some time off. You can do that. It definitely does help save some time until it does come back around and bite you because you left something behind. So you want to make sure that you do visit the places you've skipped, at some point in the nearer future. And if you stop, if you look low on progression, because sometimes you can just last location things by just simply skipping checks if you skip too many.
Here's that graveyard ledge check I was talking about a little bit earlier. Kind of reading the seed. Yeah, only 10 arrows.
So Yoshi bottlenecked into the Dark World as well. We'll see if their route differs from Kermit's. And it looks like Kermit's going to go back towards Village of Outcasts. And Yoshi is headed into the Village of Outcasts to start. Doesn't check out.
Yeah, Yoshi will eventually have to work his way back there. But not necessarily missing a whole lot, because we didn't find a ton in the overworld checks that Kermit has done.
I will say this seed really has you stripped down to basics. This is not a little high five at Sea House there. This is not really the best mode for no weapons, low equipment. This is really going to put the test of execution on our runners.
Oh, absolutely. And here's a great question, because we don't have a weapon that can kill blind, but there's up to 4 items in Blind's hideout in Thieves Town. Do you make the gamble and dive in hoping for something, or do you do what Yoshi's doing apparently and say, nah, we're going to get these overworld checks until I'm confident I have a weapon?
I'm willing to bet that Yoshi is aiming at Hype Cave being the play. But if it was me, I would check at the very least the front 4 chests of Thieves Town. If I didn't get a weapon, I would probably skip the back till I did get a weapon. I say that, but in Enemizer, I would check the boss. I would check the front 4 and then go straight to the boss to at least find out what it is.
Yeah, and then mirror out, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we are going to get Jeremiah check here directly. See what the Smiths have for us.
Alright, let's see if the Smiths pay off today. And there's a flute, so... the Smiths have something, but... not too much in terms of progression.
I mean, that could be the chain. Hey, I'm telling you right now, Misery Mire, I called it, 10 minutes ago? Misery Mire, the Mire Shed, and Checkerboard Cave looking mighty attractive right now.
And Kermit finding out that Cold Stare is hiding out in Thieves Town, so as soon as we get a sword, we technically have enough to beat Cold Stare, but I don't know if anyone's going to want to try to kill Cold Stare with Fighter Sword spins.
That's gross. That's just gross. Hey, a weapon! Cane of Samaria. That'll do.
That's a decent weapon to get around until we find a, I consider Samaria. I mean, it's technically kind of a weapon, but I don't consider it a true weapon. Like a sword or a hammer, but it can get you by. You can kill blind with it, and given enough magic, I believe you can kill Lanma with it as well. I haven't tried it. I don't remember if that's possible or not, though.
I would be super nervous about trying that. I mean, we have 2 bottles, so I guess we could go get some magic potions, but man, that'd be rough.
And there we find our magic powder on Stumpy. So both our runners kind of having the same ideas here. The only real difference is Kermit checked out Thieves Town a little bit, and that's about it.
Yep, continuing with the overworld checks at this point in time. I'm gonna get some Hype Cave check. Hope chat, get your guesses in. How hype is this Hype Cave gonna be? We'll see. Okay, you know what? Our first sword and flippers? I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. That's a solid like 6 of 10 right now for me.
Yeah, I'd say it's a 6 of 10. It's given the circumstances, it's a little bit more hype, but definitely won't say no to some flippers and our first true weapon here.
Meanwhile, we do have. It looks like Kermit is actually going to physically walk the chest back down so he can turn in everything as he's doing these other kind of South Shore checks in the Dark World. We have Yoshi going over here. Looks like he's going to be checking Hobo directly.
And what's the friendly hobo got for us today? Just a little change that he got from someone else. So, let's see.
So it looks like Yoshi is going to be checking over here the pyramid to see what's going on. All right. And in the meantime, Kermit does end up getting his cane and is going over here to not the hypest of caves, but a decent hype cave. Mathgirl pointing out in chat that with flippers and mirror, now we have Swamp Palace access, and that's a pendant, which can be a risky proposition.
Yep, so Yoshi headed over to Pod. I mean, really, the seed isn't giving us much, so it's hard to say what the best play is here. So, Pod, if it's not bow locked, potentially can have our progression. So I'd be interested to see what shows up here and if it's bow locked.
I'm telling you right now, Meyer Shed. God, and knowing that we have the Ether Medallion on that Lumberjack ledge, man, I want to go immediately to at least check what Meyer.
Alright, so Yoshi still clearing out, getting that big key, and then looks like Kermit finding half magic in the waterfall, so that's pretty nice.
And Yoshi getting bodied. That's kind of a rude basement there, but we do see a bow that is located. And we have the flippers now, so Kermit is going to be able to get his first bow. Efficient routing there by Kermit. Yeah, and Zora not necessarily giving us a whole lot, but the main story is going to be that bow. That's a great pickup there by Kermit. We really haven't seen a whole lot in Palace of Darkness up to this point in time. Now, remember, Pod's a green pendant. I can see the logic in wanting to check here. We have a lamp, so we have a fire source to be able to check to see what's going on. So it's possible. It's a pretty dense location. I like some of the other checks that Kermit's been doing, though. And he's going Meyer. I've called it. I'm telling you, something's here. I feel it in my bones. And it is Ether. Oh, yeah.
But not much we can do until we, number one, are able to even access Aga 1, and number two, we're going to need those boots too. So Yoshi picking up the book here in Palace of Darkness, so I mean progression, but you know, it's one of those mild, I'll take it kind of items.
Yeah, you're hoping you don't need it. It's like King Fetch Quest, honestly. So nothing really in Desert Palace for Kermit. Going to continue. Looks like he's on his way over to Checkerboard Cave now. Hammer! Yes! I rule! I told you! No, I'm kidding.
But with that hammer, that actually finally puts us into a much better shape where we can start making some good routing decisions, because we didn't have a lot to go off of, and now we can do some stuff.
Absolutely. Now, we do see Yoshi on his way over here. He's going to be doing the Misery Mire area checks as well. Now, keep in mind, Yoshi was the one who checked what was on Lumberjack Ledge. So he sees that Ether Medallion. He knows what's up. He knows that he will eventually have to go and do Aga to be able to make that run. Kermit doesn't. So even though, like, if you're looking at a straight line race, Yoshi didn't necessarily get anything productive out of... I mean, he got a book, yeah, but he didn't get a whole lot out of Palace of Darkness. So it looks like if you're just comparing straight line leads, that Yoshi might be a little bit behind, but that knowledge gap is going very well. I don't know if and when Kermit... I mean, he might wait until he has the boots to even make that check, but he's got lots of other things he can do, and he does see another sword up on the floating island, so he'll have his second sword here directly.
Yeah, and that second sword is finally going to get us that Aga access we will need in the long run. Now, Kermit didn't check Lumberjack, but when he does get boots, I imagine he'll check it. A lot of runners will just skip Lumberjack until they do get boots because, well, you can check it, but there's nothing you can do about it, until you have the ability to access it. So once you get the ability to access it, you can go back and check it real quick because it's, especially with boots, it's a quick jog from the sanctuary. So as long as he does that, he'll be fine.
I guess my one concern with that is that, standard routing would be to check that when you're on your way up the mountain or you're going to be doing the other checks in the area. I mean, Bonk Rocks is probably the biggest tell. If he checks it during Bonk Rocks, it'd be great. But we've already checked Graveyard Lich. So, yeah, it would have to be when he has to do those other checks.
And the good old Enemizer trump card, Bombos, kills them dead fast. Very few enemies are immune to Bombos. I don't know the entire list, but like, say, for instance, the turtles are immune when they're not flipped over.
Yeah, I'm asking the same question, Ravis. Where was the mushroom? I'm gonna take a leap. Doesn't matter. It didn't lead to anything, so.
So, Kermit is doing all the East Death Mountain checks here, trying to see if we can get any more goodies.
Oh, well, there's the boots. They're in Super Bunny Cave. Yoshi is kind of right on his tail, so he will be right behind him picking those things up. Oh boy, Bombos on Turtle Rock. Now, I mean, we can open it. We can step in the front door. Man, that would be not a great thing to go to right now.
Well, you likely wouldn't be able to get very far. Worst, well, I should say the worst case scenario is that it lets you go all the way to Laser Bridge with, but generally that doesn't happen without the fire rod. So, while you're on the mountain, what I like to do is I like to check the first chest on the left-hand side there, and because it's real quick to get to if I have the option. But yeah.
And it looks like Kermit is actually going to make that check. He said, well, I can open the front door. Let's do this.
Especially when Turtle Rock is a crystal, you're going to need to open it anyway. You're going to need to go through the dungeon anyway. So, if you're on the mountain and you have the opportunity to check it, might as well take a quick peek. I don't know if it's worth a full, like, if it does allow you to go to Laser Bridge, that's a huge gamble to make. I don't know if it's worth that to Kermit, but we'll see how far he goes.
Well, and keep in mind, this is Enemizer, so we don't know where Trinix is located. We might not need the ice rod to get through here at all. But it is fire rod locked regardless, so we just pick up an armor upgrade, which is nice. It's been not exactly a healthy seed, not sickly, but it's not been healthy.
Yeah, those safeties are kind of at a premium in an Enemizer seed where, you're taking a lot more damage than normal because there are enemies that you don't expect to be there.
Kermit is checking hammer pegs. He's been very efficient while he's up here on the mountain. And he is rewarded with just a piece of heart.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind when you play Enemizer Seeds is certain enemies are vulnerable to certain weapons, such as the Mimics. They're vulnerable to arrows. The Hinox, the big Cyclops that throw the bombs, they're vulnerable to bombs themselves. Not their own bombs, though. Just your bombs. That will kill them in one hit. And then there are a lot of smaller enemies that are vulnerable to hookshot. So it's always good to have that knowledge in Enemizer to really kind of, if you find yourself lacking weapons, figure out, okay, what can I do to get through this challenge?
All right, Kermit actually really leaning into. We got the early access with the mitts and flippers, and says, you know what, Ice Palace seems like a good idea right now. It's accessible. Now, logically, I've always been confused about Ice Palace logic, especially when it comes to what requires the hookshot or not. We have the Cane of Samaria, so I think most of it is pretty moot, but it's always given me a hard time.
So, Icebreaker, one of those new clips that has been allowed recently. Kermit's going to go do that, perhaps. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, looks like he's doing the old-fashioned way. And this room is one of those that I would just automatically be like, hey, yeah, I'm getting ready to kill some skeletons. Oh, wait.
Yeah, and given that now we have a Master Sword, we have Bombos, and we even have a hammer, that Cold Stare in Thieves Town is looking pretty killable at this point. So at some point, we may see one of our runners go back there, because Thieves Town is a red crystal. So I would say Fire Rod would make them go back there, because they can get both the Skullwoods potentially. But, well, actually, at this point, I think any boss that could show up in Skullwoods is killable.
There. Kermit's got to watch out.
Okay, so Yoshi's gonna head back to Eastern. We haven't... Have we seen the boss? I don't think we have.
No, we've not seen the boss. I mean, it is a crystal, so might as well knock it out.
Yeah, that's another thing that gets a lot of people that, you know, if you usually play, you know, normal open seeds or standard, you know, your just your basic seeds, everybody knows Eastern Palace, you need the bow to complete. Not in Enemizer. Eastern Palace does not require the bow in Enemizer because the red Igors that usually block your path are not in those rooms anymore because enemies like that, the way that the Enemizer is coded, cannot be in what are called kill rooms, which is you know, you have to kill every enemy in the room to open the door. So they coded it that way so that you don't get stuck in progression, you know, behind something that isn't killable. So the path is open in Eastern, although Pod does still require the bow because of the Igor statue that you have to hit.
Well, that was awful nice of the programmers there.
And yeah, that's a very quick Moth fight. Moth, not so dangerous in in outside his normal chambers. Pretty big pushover when you don't have the spikes and moving floor.
Oh my goodness. And at 52 minutes in this race, we get our first crystal. Do you think this might be a case of runners feeling a little bit behind if they're just now getting their first crystal?
I honestly, with the way the seed has unfolded, I would not feel behind. I don't think they would, because everything is kind of spread out, and there's no real good like Galaxy Brain plays that we've seen just yet, where something is just hidden in a weird place and you're like, wow, I can't believe that this is here. So I think it's just a matter of this seed is just, it is what it is. It's gonna start accelerating very quickly though, as we approach, you know, go mode, because potentially we don't need the ice rod. So really, all we would need is we would technically need the hook shot, but there's ways around that, and we need the fire rod. Provided that, you know, we wouldn't necessarily need the hook shot, provided that Argus doesn't show up, but.
And that makes a good point. If Argus doesn't show up, we don't need the hook shot per se. But we will need it to get through Ganon's tower. So that could be a location. It's like, hey, the hook shot is buried behind somewhere in Ganon's tower, which is always a possibility, and not necessarily a happy one. Again, I'm still pointing back to the knowledge gap between Kermit and Yoshi at this point in time. Yoshi's setting up the icebreaker right now. If you have not seen this particular... Nope, he's got to reset it up. I do really enjoy this particular tech as we found it.
So Kermit's going to clear out desert. I think these runners are now focused on getting crystals. Based on the way they've been playing, I think they're like, you know, I've waited long enough. I think it's time to get some crystals here.
Yep, Kermit's going over here. He's got everything to clear out Desert Palace, theoretically. Again, you know, there's a couple bosses that are out there that are floating out there that we don't quite know.
Yeah, Kermit will also need to find that ether. Again, Yoshi does know that it is on Lumberjack. So Yoshi if Yoshi can hover, I'm not sure. A lot of the top runners can. But he may not need the hook shot at all for Ganon's Tower, because you can get through Ganon's Tower entirely without the hook shot. It just you need to hover to do so.
Kermit finding a Vitreous located in Desert Palace for dry red eyes. Choose the Tempered Sword. That was my best Ben Stein impression, guys. I'm sorry.
So right now, Kermit's gonna go find the rest of the items in Desert. Meanwhile, Yoshi is gonna clear out Ice Palace. We know that we've got some Armos down here waiting. What's next?
Yeah, Thieves Town. Thieves Town's looking real attractive right now.
And it looks like Kermit's is gonna do just that. So this is some new information we'll get. We'll see where Yoshi goes after clearing out Ice Palace. Could go to Desert as well. That's definitely an option if they're looking to get some more crystals out of the way. Because right now, I think it's a good play to just do the crystal dungeons and hope the last items that you need show up. But it looks like Yoshi is going to go for that ether first. So, that's right. You know, we'll be able to do Mire and Desert Palace as a combo. So, good play here to go get that ether now.
Yep, will absolutely save some time when you can combo those two together. Great decision there by Yoshi. Knowing what he knows about the seed. Also has the Butter Sword. Pick that up along the way.
And Kermit with Tempered Sword is not going to have really much any trouble with Cold Stare at this point. So this will be an easy fight. Cold Stare. If you got Tempered or Gold Sword, he's not as intimidating.
No, not at all. Although Yoshi found some really rude chain chomps in that dark maze room, just kind of blocking his access.
All right, so cold stare, and then we. If I was Kermit, I don't think he's checked catfish yet. I can't think of what he really would have left to do besides checking lumberjack, checking catfish.
He has to do Eastern Palace yet, so there's that. And just about a textbook cold stare fight there.
Yeah, the best scenario you can get there is you pin them up in the corner, and then they stay there, and you just kill them. Easy, all at the same time. Hammer pegs is always kind of a joy to do in Enemizer because there's always something here that kind of impedes your progress.
Yeah, you thought those chickens were just for show, huh? Meanwhile, Yoshi is on his Aga fight. I haven't seen any blue balls yet. Have you?
I believe there was at least one. Let's see. Now Yoshi's gonna go get that Ether Medallion on Lumberjack. And then we'll just go do Mire and Desert. And Kermit with the cape off Magic Bat, so that we've seen the ledge. That's not really that important, and we already had an invincibility item, so not even that helpful. So cape is whatever.
Yeah, nothing terribly important. Meanwhile, Yoshi is going to take his turn here in Thieves Town. Kermit. Oh, he's turning the shovel. Okay.
And it looks like Kermit's going to set up for the Pod Eastern combo here. It'll be interesting to see if that Fire Rod is on the green pendant. We've still got to find out what's, where that Fire Rod is for sure. And it could be in Mire. And really, gosh, where else could it be? I don't think we've had tablet checks at all yet either.
We were up on the... we did check the Ether tablet, and that was just some couch cash. We haven't checked Bombo's tablet, though.
And we do also... It could be in Swamp, but then we'd need to find the hook shot potentially. I mean, it could also be just in the front of swamp, and we don't even need the hook shot.
Yeah, but does someone want to go to Pendant Swamp without the hook shot?
Yeah, that's always a tough play to make. That's one of those high risk gambles that you can really make like that has a chance of paying off, because I mean the front of swamp takes a long time, but there's a potential for a lot of items to be there, especially if there are 2 items on left side swamp.
Alright, here's Yoshi going to be cashing in that Ether Medallion. Then he will be on his way to do the Misery Mire Desert Palace combo, which will put him in a great position over Kermit. Again, Kermit is starting to run out of locations. He could be diving Palace of Darkness, which, again, up to this point in time, he's set up for it. We haven't seen anything of value, but then again, we still have to check, what is on Helmasaur King or the boss spot, and then turning in the green pendant. But that could potentially be a significant, rabbit hole that ends up wasting time, allowing Yoshi to just kind of roll through a couple of crystal dungeons.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about Ether or any of the medallions, just like the Ice Rod, they can literally be pretty much anywhere, unless, except for in the dungeon they might be locking. So there are a lot of places for that Ether Medallion to be, and unless Kermit at this point has the thought to go check Lumberjack, if he, goes to Sank, really, it's going to come down to now. He'll probably... I wouldn't be surprised to see a Swamp Palace play after Pod, provided that the Fire Rod is not found yet. Because if he finds the Fire Rod, then definitely we'll see a Skull Woods play after that.
Alright, meanwhile, Yoshi is going to be providing us with our first new bits of information right now. Is going into Misery Mire. Has everything necessary to full clear it, unless one of our problem bosses ends up being what we gotta find. We are looking... We still haven't seen an Argus. We still haven't seen a Trinex. And remember, this is a full boss shuffle. So we haven't seen any duplicates yet, either.
Yeah, we've got 3 duplicates, and all the bosses have to be here. So Trinex will be somewhere, but could be here, could be in GT basement, could be anywhere. Well, mostly anywhere. There are a couple places that Trinex can't be, because Trinex is just too big. Like Moldorm 2, Skull Woods, can't fit there. So there are a couple places that Trinex can't be, but we'll see what we got in Mire here. Oh boy.
Ooh. Ice Rod. Oof. That is something I don't want to see.
Well, honestly, in Enemizer, you want to see the Ice Rod, because you never know. Because Ice Rod never, usually, like if it's a pendant Turtle Rock and you get the Ice Rod, then you're like, oh man, am I gonna have to kill Trinex? I don't want to kill Trinex. But in Enemizer, especially with a boss shuffle, you want to see that Ice Rod as early as possible, because you never know where you're gonna run into the Trinex, and you could run into possibly 2 of them. So you definitely want to have an ice rod at the ready. Meanwhile, Kermit looks to be close to done with Pod here. So we'll see if that green pendant has anything, because looks like he's going to finish that out.
Now, it'll be interesting. Kermit is going to end up finding the book here directly. We'll see if that sends him on a bit of a wild goose chase, or where that sends him, because now that Ether tablet, now Bombo's tablet is open to him. He might even... I don't know. Neither of our runners have really given us a ped check up to this point in time.
Unpopular opinion here, but, you know, at this point, if I'm Kermit, Swamp Palace actually, the front of Swamp without hookshot, kind of looks like a good play. With that book now, you can check Bombo's tablet and then just go into Swamp Palace, because, again, you know, it will take a while to do that, but he's really low on checks, and a lot of it is just one-off checks. And to be honest, Swamp's not that bad.
Ravis pointing out in chat that he hasn't done any of the boots checks yet, which is absolutely something that we're kind of rooting for Kermit to do, because when he's doing those boot checks in the area, we're hoping that he checks Lumberjack Ledge so he doesn't lose too much time. Oh, that swag Yoshi with the block kick. Wasn't quite spooky action swag, but still swag.
I tell you, every time I play Enemizer, it always gives me a little confusion when I walk into an empty boss room. And then I realize, oh wait, it's Landmo.
That's got to be the worst place for Blind, because he's surrounded by goo. Oh, horrible.
Blind in Skull Woods is not fun either, but Kermit, yeah, picking up that hookshot on Landmo there really is going to put Swamp Palace back on the map at this point, provided that, you know, Fire Rod is not on the green pendant.
And he's going to turn this green pendant in right away. That's pretty significant there for Kermit. So at this point, we're about a fire rod away from what I would call faux mode, because we don't really know if it's go mode because of where the bosses might be, and you know, I guess we already have we know where the ice rod is, so Trinix won't be a problem. So
yeah, with our knowledge, all we need is the fire rod, and then we are in we're in no mode as the observers, because every boss will be killable at that point. However, will Kermit need to find that ice rod? That is the question. Probably will find it anyway, because it was in Spike Chest in Mire, so that's one of the first checks that you even do in Mire for the big key. So, yeah.
And now Kermit's making a beeline. I think he's going to do Hookshot Cave actually first, which is 3 checks. He's already done everything else in there, plus bonked over with the boots that he was able to get. So he's at least going to make a check and see, hey, if Fire Rod's right here, I'll get, he can at least do most of Turtle Rock.
Yeah. A lot of times in Enemizer, because Trinex is restricted due to his size, he does end up vanilla a lot of the time. So it's very possible that there's a Trinex at the end of Turtle Rock.
Yep, and Hookshot Cave was a big bottle of nothing.
So Kermit must not be the biggest fan of Pendant Swamp, because I would think that with the hookshot you'd go there looking for, because Kermit's looking for 2 items, not just 1, but possibly even 3. I'm not sure if the ice rod's on his mind, but he's definitely looking for ether and fire rod at this point.
No, he was doing the ped check. Just couch cash. Move right along. Ravis, his teammate on the Hime group, doing some great coaching on the sidelines there, Ravis.
So we got the swamp play. I think Fire Rod is here at this point. I don't know where else it could be. A Bombos tablet, like really, that's. I think we've covered pretty much everywhere else. Yeah, this seed has been quite the ride, I'd have to say.
Oh, and he's doing the swamp checks. He's still... he's avoiding those boot checks now. Come, what's going on, Kermit? I'm gonna have to harass him about this a little bit later. Meanwhile, Yoshi looks like is going to go over here. Maybe do some Skull Woods checks. Now, we haven't seen full Skull Woods checks. Like back here, we haven't seen this particular check that Yoshi is going to do. If the Fire Rod's here, whew.
That's point. Kermit did skip out on the second item. So... yeah, we'll see if that is that last chest that he skipped out on, the pinball room, could be the fire rod there.
I think he also got the big key and didn't check what was in the big treasure chest. or maybe not. Anyway, Kermit is showing us new information in Swamp Palace as well.
And Yoshi getting introduced to a wall master there.
They said, if I want that chest, I'll just fall down.
So no fire rod in Skull Woods here. We are dwindling down on the available checks made. You know, even these runners, they've both pretty much cleared everything. Yoshi still has to go back to Pod, which is going to be a hard sell since he already went there.
That was a great noping out from that thief there on Kermit's page. There is our big...
Everybody's favorite staircase, the swamp staircase that just isn't properly aligned and gets you stuck. You know, it's always a joy to experience.
Another bottle. Oh, I think that's all of our bottles at this point in time.
So at this point, that knowledge that Ether is on Lumberjack is dwindling, and now we've got a fire rod in our arsenal. So
that's great news for Kermit. Not so great news for Yoshi.
So here's where Kermit will probably clear all the remaining dungeons that he can. Well, I think it's just Skull Woods at this point. Well, he could gamble Turtle Rock. Basically, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in this situation. And it looks like Kermit's just gonna go check Bombo's tablet here, real quick. So Kermit, if he does his boots checks, might lead him to that ether, which will get him access to that ice rod in Mire. But if he doesn't find that ether, he's gonna spend a lot of time clearing, you know, everything else but the place he needs to be.
Oof. And Yoshi is actually going into a hookless swamp. That's gonna be a bad time for him, unfortunately. On the bright side, though, we are quickly approaching the point where Yoshi is running out of places to go. Kermit still has some spots to check over here in Skull Woods. He still has to make his boots checks that hopefully will lead him to the Ether Medallion that is on Lumberjack Ledge that we know he's going to have to then turn around and go do Aga for. So the question becomes, who checks what first? Does Yoshi go back for the hook shot first? Or does Kermit do his boots checks and finds the Ether Medallion first? Like, that's the question at this point.
This is honestly the best time for Kermit to do all of those boots checks. He's in the area, you know, and he can just go to the right-hand side and, you know, after leaving the Skull Woods area, and really just kind of clean up that side, get it all taken care of. I think if he does it, I wouldn't be surprised if he does it now, because again, this is the best time to do it. But could also very easily just save and quit or nope out of Skullwoods after killing the boss here.
Did Kermit do Bumper Graveyard Ledge already? He checked Bumper. He did do Graveyard Ledge, yes. Which might be why he is somewhat avoiding the area. Probably the best way to describe it. Ooh, and it's an Argus here. So, I mean, great.
Yeah, Hook absolutely required for that Fire Rod in the back of Swamp Palace, and for this Argus here on a Crystal Dungeon.
And down goes Argus, and it's silver arrows. What?
Well, that's a nice little parting gift there.
Oh, and you know what? I'm willing to bet. Oh, man, I hope he goes over and checks it. No, he's fluting. Oh, no. Oh, no. Is he going to 1? No, he's not going to 1. Where are you going? Oh, he's going to do Pyramid Fairy check.
Yep. At this point, we've found pretty much all the menu items. The best thing that could show up is, like, even though it's not even anywhere near necessary, is the net and the Quake medallion. So, I mean, we're not going to get much out of this.
Ice Rod was in Misery Mire, which, of course, is locked behind the Ether medallion.
Yeah, really, what Kermit needs to find here is Ether. Ether will bring him to Ice Rod, and he will be in go mode.
Yoshi also checking Catfish. I don't know if we've seen Catfish yet.
But yeah, at this point, though, Kermit's in a better position than Yoshi. I should hold my tongue because it looks like Yoshi is going back to Pod.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, Yoshi is just about out of other locations. So he didn't have much of a choice. Here's what I'm concerned about. Kermit could absolutely end up doing the entirety of Turtle Rock at this point.
Well, Kermit has done, more dungeons than Yoshi right now, so there's still a bit of a buffer time. And Kermit is going to 1, so, as you said, he might be going to Turtle Rock here.
Yeah, it does look like that's what he said. This is going to give Yoshi an opportunity to catch up. Now, it's possible that Trinex is not at the boss, and he will still be able to at least full clear it. So he's still making progress. He is still doing a dungeon, but he's going to be full clearing it. He's going to have to spend time doing that. Meanwhile, Yoshi, by the time he goes up to Turtle Rock, he'll be able to go mode it.
Yeah, if there's no Trinex here, Kermit, it won't be the most efficient play. Again, it's not like it's a bad play, because it's a very item dense location. But we know that he's not going to find anything here, and as long as it's not a Trinex, it won't be a wasted trip.
But if it is, whew.
So Yoshi gonna get his hook shot here, and wouldn't be surprised to see a straight shot to Swamp Palace. Because again, not sure if there's even anything at all besides Swamp Palace left on Yoshi's side. Because we're down to scraps on both sides here. Kermit doesn't have much left either, so realistically, our runners are going to find what they need very soon.
Well, yeah, we don't think Kermit can miss out on Ice Rod right now because it was in Misery Mire. The thing is, if Trinex is not here and it's along our path in a required Ganon's Tower, for example, it is possible for him to miss it in Misery Mire if he go modes it. Now, I don't anticipate that, but we never know. Oh, Spike Chest, yeah, he won't miss that. I think the big key was actually pretty well buried too.
Kermit's gonna want to be pretty careful here. Down to 2 hearts. Really don't want to die before you can enter and exit, or exit and then enter. It does have potions, but you really wouldn't want to use those either.
Oh no, and Yoshi is actually going to Turtle Rock as well.
Yoshi won't be able to go anywhere in Turtle Rock. Remember, it's Fire Rod locked.
True.
So
true.
he has no opportunity to even waste time in Turtle Rock.
So this is one of those seeds that 2 out of 3 of the pendant dungeons were required significantly. Had to beat the boss in Palace of Darkness, and then in Swamp Palace was the Fire Rod, and it was pretty deep, like right next to the boss room. So you really had no choice but to pretty well full clear it anyway.
Yeah, Yoshi will get to save a little bit of time because won't have to kill the boss of Swamp Palace. Can just straight up leave after getting that Fire Rod and Waterfall chest. So we are approaching the end of this Turtle Rock journey, and again, if you're on Kermit's side, you're going to hope for no Trinex.
No, that was a rude little cockroach there. Just jumped out of nowhere. So everyone, get your guesses in chat. What boss are we going to see here? Is it going to be a vanilla Trinex? Is it going to be something else?
We have not seen any doubles at all so far, so that's something that will come into play in GT possibly. We may not see our doubles till GT.
Ooh, spoke too soon. We have our first double. Double Argus. That is a great question, Kevin. Hup asked, can Trinex be on Tower of Hera? I don't know. If not, then it's our Trinex has got to be somewhere in Ganon's Tower.
So Yoshi's back in Swamp, gonna get his Fire Rod.
Oh, he's going over to Tower of Hera. Oh, Kermit.
Yeah, we're gonna wonder when Kermit is gonna get to them boots checks and finally check Lumberjack. Unfortunately, he cannot just simply go grab that item. He will have to go kill Aga 1 at the same, as well. So, yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle for Kermit at this point. If he goes and checks Lumberjack straight away after this, it could still be close. But the longer he puts that off, the more distance he's gonna, put between him and Yoshi at this point, since Yoshi is now in go mode.
Yoshi's in go mode, so he'll be able to go mode the rest of Skullwoods and Turtle Rock. Kermit's still looking. I gotta think he's doing his boots checks next, but yeah, that's the race right now. How long does it take Kermit to do these checks?
And he's doing these checks but we have to make sure that he gets up to Lumberjack. So if you're a fan of Kermit, give him your energy. Let him know that Lumberjack is the play.
Man, how bad does it feel? And I think we've all been in this position as rando runners. Like, last locationing Lumberjack Ledge, be like, oh, really? He's doing it. He's doing it.
So Kermit is gonna have to be quick on the execution here. It's gonna have to be as solid as possible because Yoshi has basically just Turtle Rock to clear. Is pretty much done with Skull Woods here, and now Kermit will have to go do Aga 1, then do Meyer, and then we'll see where our runners are at after this. But Kermit's in no mode, so that's at least good news for him.
Oh, great pokes there by Yoshi. So Yoshi also awarded with those silver arrows. So he's a Trinex and then bopping right over to Ganon's Tower. Meanwhile, Kermit has to complete Aga, then go through Misery Mire. Ooh, this is going to be a close race, folks.
One thing that Kermit will have to add on to is another mountain climb to get to GT after Meyer. Whereas Yoshi will already be on the mountain after Turtle Rock. So again, Kermit's just going to have to execute very well and just hope that Yoshi has some slip-ups here and there. Get any chance he can gain some time will be of much benefit to Kermit.
Kermit was looking for that anti-fairy, trying to get some health. He is looking very sickly. Yeah, you're high enough in the tower. Go ahead, pop a potion. No one's going to blame you.
So again, if you're just tuning in, we've got Yoshi in go mode, Kermit in no mode. Kermit is clearing out Aga 1 so that he can get the Ether Medallion on Lumberjack. So that's where we're at. Once Kermit gets that Ether Medallion, we'll be able to clear Meyer, and then we'll be on his way to GT. However, Yoshi just has Turtle Rock to clear before he goes to GT. So Yoshi's a bit ahead at this point, but execution could make the difference if Yoshi is has some slip ups and Kermit plays perfectly. There could be some time gain. Oh.
That was a bad little glitch there.
So that's an interesting thing. So what happened there was, I guess, the dead rock pushed Yoshi out of bounds into due to the interaction of how you come down off the stairs and getting hit right exactly at the bottom. Looks like it pushed him into EG, which is yeah, you have to mirror out of that one.
That's something new I've never seen happen before, but I mean that's one of the wacky things that happens in Enemizer. Sometimes you take damage where you're not normally supposed to take damage, and things like that happen.
All right, so Kermit grabbing that ether. And Kermit, will still need the ice rod, but there's really no worries about that unless Kermit does some wacky routing, because ice rod is in the spike chest of Misery Mire, and you pretty much always will check that chest before any others. Maybe the bridge chest first, but that doesn't matter because the big key is vanilla, so it's locked behind the cutscene, and there's very little chance that Kermit will actually skip the ice rod.
Alright, so Kermit begins his descent into his final dungeon. Get the feeling that he might be a bit tilted, because he's just trying to force his way through these bullies that, frankly, you can kill with the swords.
Luckily, this Mire 2 is pretty easy to do, so Mire 2 is always kind of annoying because of the whiz robes that phase in and out, so you gotta wait for them to be, hittable, but a lot of easy enemies, I'll take that.
No, Ice Rod should be in this room that Kermit is going to see. So he'll be in like full-on go mode now.
Alright, so with Turtle Rock complete, Yoshi will be headed to GT.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is crystal number 7. You know what time that means it is. There are 22 possible locations for the Ganon's Tower Big Key. Go ahead and get your guesses into chat 1 through 22. The person who is closest will get some wonderful internet points and be added to our leaderboard. Jetters, do you have a guess for us today?
I always go 7.
I have been guessing 9 for the past year and a half, and I'm going to continue to guess 9 until I'm right. So 9.
I should say, I always guess 7. Unless it's inverted, then I guess 15.
All right, first 2 were empty. We're getting close to the other checks here on right side. Oh, nothing. All right. All right. Here comes a fairly dense room. Piece of heart. Bombs. All right, nothing here.
Well, if there's nothing for key on well, yeah, at this point, yeah, I don't know. Kermit basically is going to have to rely on Yoshi. Oh, this is quite the room, lots of guards, but you know, is basically have to rely on Yoshi to kind of make mistakes at this point, since there's very little chance to catch up. I mean, Chad said it. Wallmaster at the top of GT could be a factor. In Enemizer, that's a possibility, and that can be a nasty surprise if you're not ready for it. But really, at this point, Kermit's got a lot of catching up to do.
So that was 17. Oof.
Yeah, for some wacky reason that Kermit decides to check Tile Room first when getting into GT, and the big key is there, we could have ourselves a race, but I don't see anybody doing that usually. So, I mean, you'd have to feel really behind to go for a Tile Room play.
It was 18. 19, 20, 21. Here's one of our bosses. And it is Trinex. On a full ice floor. Ooh.
The fabled Trinex on ice. I will have to say, Helma on ice is almost as bad as Trinex on ice.
Oh, I can imagine. Oof. Alright, this is going to be guess 19, 20, and 21 here. It's 22! It's tile room!
But yeah, unless Kermit, after checking, looks like Kermit's gonna do Dark Magician. Unless he does Dark Magician plus Tile, that's gonna be a full clear as well for Kermit.
And of course, who's the first one to guess 22? Math girl. Fantastic also guessed 22, so congratulations to them as well. And yeah, Kermit just running right by tile room. Oof.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's very, very few times where you're gonna go to tile room first before checking everywhere else. I mean, you just got, like, it's such a big gamble. It takes so long to do, and it's the check that everybody saves for last, pretty much. So it's possible that Ice Rod was not required.
Well, we still have Landmo 2 room to check. So if we get duplicate Trinexes...
Yeah, we've still got 2 duplicates left. And we've, since our first one was a duplicate Argus. And we haven't seen Helma. So Helma is probably on Moldorm 2 at this point. That's my best guess.
Now, what are the boss restrictions? Because the one boss we didn't see the location was the top of Tower of Hera. And I know that Trinex can't be on there, but are there any other boss restrictions for that location just because of the size of that room?
It's just Trinex. Trinex is the only boss that has limitations because of how, how the boss works and the size. Because it's the multiple heads that really cause the issue. Sometimes they can go off screen in small rooms. So if that happens, that really kind of makes it hard.
Duplicate Moldorm.
Oh, that is correct. Math Girl pointing out that blind can't be in Landmo 2. There was a version of the Enemizer that allowed for blind to be in Landmo 2, but what happened was, for some reason, the game just considered blind defeated, and it would open the door without you actually killing blind, so you could just walk right through.
That's odd.
all said and done, after everything we've seen in this seed, runners aren't too terribly far apart.
No, I think it's fair to say... Oh, and duplicate cold stare. I think it's fair to say at this point that, they both last location several items. The knowledge of where Ether was is kind of what separated Yoshi, just because Kermit made a lot of different checks that wasted some time. But that being said, Yoshi also last location the hookshot. So this really kind of played havoc on the runners.
Yeah, if Kermit had checked, Lumberjack anytime before or just after getting that fire rod, I think Kermit would have taken this. However, putting off Lumberjack for so long, really did, kind of decide the outcome of this match. I mean, there's many factors that go in, but it's the easiest one to kind of look at and say, well, that's definitely one thing that kind of decided that things here.
Other than that, it felt like a fairly, linear seed. We got, we got early Titansmiths, and that's always a little bit scary. And then the flippers that were available there in the hype cave. So there were a lot of different places that we could go early on, but even then it felt like we're missing the fire rod for a long time and the hook shot. So a lot of things that we wanted to do, we really couldn't.
Yep, so Yoshi on Ganon fight, and with gold sword and silvers, is not much of a fight at all, to be honest.
Gold sword, silvers, red mail, 19 hearts. What's the collection rate going to look like?
Half magic too. Don't forget that. Yeah. The real tragedy is we didn't get 20 hearts. Alright. So we've got Yoshi here in Phase 4.
Oh no, you found my one true weakness. Yes, we did.
And there you have it. That's the Ganon fight. Yoshi taking the win. Get an official SRL time here real quick.
Looks like an official SRL time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 47 seconds. GG's Yoshi.
And looks like Yoshi will not be joining us for an interview. But we will root on Kermit here as he finishes this seed.
Worth pointing out, Team Awesome still undefeated so far in this tournament. GG's Team Awesome. I suppose you are awesome. Meanwhile, Kermit is working his way up the gauntlet. or through the top part of Ganon's tower. Your uncle is cheap. Absolutely, he was. What was that? A single rupee that Uncle gave us?
Alright, so Kermit is on his way to Agatu, and we'll be getting a Ganon fight shortly. Man, this is, I'd say this is not a friendly... It wasn't bad, per se. It was just really slow seed. It just, you know, slowed you down so much. The enemies were kind of tough in the beginning, but as with these settings... as you start to get more equipment, it starts to become, you know, pretty much the norm. You know, the only thing that Enemizer you really kind of have to look out for is the rollers, like the unkillable things that really kind of get in your way. The big spikes, those can cause a lot of problems no matter how much equipment you have, especially if they're near pits. But yeah, as far as seeds go, it wasn't too bad. It's just really slow.
I have to agree. It didn't seem like a terrible seed, but it was... Last locationing items is always feels bad. And unfortunately, both runners' last location items just... Yoshi, you know, had more things that were locked behind what his item last location. That ether medallion, ooh, that was rough. Let this be a lesson, folks. I mean, I think all of us have lost races because we didn't check Lumberjack Pledge. It happens so infrequently, but man, it feels so bad when you lose something like that. That a lot of people used to check, you know, right out of the escape sequence. They would make that check pretty early.
Alright, so here we are on Ganon. Again, with our equipment, this is really quite an easy fight, so Kermit will just kind of clean up Ganon here and get across that bridge relatively quickly.
Man, Kermit's living on the dangerous side here. Half a heart.
Yep, but does get it done here. So that's a Ganon down, and he's just going to cross that bridge, and we'll stop the time, and we'll get an official time for you as soon as that is in. It looks like an official second place SRL time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for Kermit.
And while we're waiting on Kermit to join us here in the room, I do want to give a shout out. There are plenty more league races that are still going on today. Going on right now over at the ALTTPR League 1. We have Sailor Net versus Kimo, or Chief Formo. Also going on over on Speed Gaming 3 is Sick Nesty versus Alan. Later this evening, here, a little over an hour over on Speed Gaming 3, we're also going to have Tiso 15 versus JJ Blue. And then we have other races on the LTTPR League and League 2 at 8:10. On the first one, Sneaky Wombat versus Ganon's Gone Wild. And right here, Zelda Fan 18657 versus Futon. Going to be right here as well. Plus, lots more going on throughout the night. Lots more league action going on. We're trying to get as many of these races live and ready for you as possible.
So we're joined by Kermit. GG's Kermit.
Yo, GG.
So, how about that ether?
You know what? I lost because of that. I wanted to check lumberjacks, but I saw the flapping fish and wanted to bring it to the bottle vendor to get free bombs and stuff. And yeah, I kind of never went back.
Hey, if there's anything Zora's taught us, you can never trust a fish.
Yeah. It's such a bummer because I felt really good this seed. I think I felt very ahead during some points because like everything worked out pretty well, and I don't know. It's a bummer. I could have probably won this if it wasn't for that fish.
So, what were your thoughts going into the Dark World, not having any weapons? Like, is there anything? It's pretty rare to go into the Dark World, without a weapon. So, is there anything you kind of think you were thinking about, on what you were gonna do, or what or were weapons on your mind at all?
Not really. I thought at least when I would go to Hype Cave, I would probably have a sword, and yeah, Thief's Stone was kind of interesting. I wanted to check the 4 first chests and then bail out, but yeah, you can obviously see which boss it is, so I went back in, and I think that was pretty smart for my for my thinking. So that's something positive. Yeah, but I wasn't too worried about the not having a weapon there. Because like I can play swordless a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. Also, when you found the hook shot, were you feeling really good at that point? Because Pendant Pod, is, they always say that it has something, but a lot of times people don't go all the way to the boss. And, when you went and pulled up that hook shot, I bet you were feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, that was okay. I was surprised it was a hook shot, actually. I was thinking I would get some other items first. I was hoping for ether at that point already. But I was really surprised. That's why I went up the mountain first and I went for a hookshot cave. I felt pretty far ahead, so I wanted to try that and further strengthen my lead, at least in my mind. So yeah, that's why I went there first and not into Swamp, which cost me some time, but I think it was still okay. I still felt pretty good at that point.
Yeah, this seed was not... It wasn't the worst, but at the same time, it was just kind of a slog. It was just... everything was kind of scattered everywhere, and, it wasn't very clear on what you should be doing. So, I mean, did any of that play into how you routed? Did you route any differently because it was just going so slow?
Not really. I felt it was like pretty logic heavy, or like you should have followed the logic pretty heavy, and that's why I thought it was a really good seed, actually. The only weird part was Aga Tower and Ganon's Tower, I guess. Those two were a little bit harder, but other than that, I don't know. It felt like you could figure out where to go pretty easily. I don't know. It didn't feel too bad, I think. And it also not very slow. I think I could have been done 20 to 25 minutes earlier if I had seen that ether. Because I checked a lot after I had all the other items.
How you feeling about that tile room check?
I was even thinking about doing that first because Yoshi wasn't done yet. But then I decided against it. I don't know. It might have been actually close if I had done that first, but unfortunately not.
We were kind of talking about it. Pretty much nobody will do tile room first. It is very rare for that to happen. Is there any sort of certain circumstances where you will check tile room first?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. It's just one of those gambles that never pays off well, and just people never do it anyway. But aside from that, is there anything else in the coming weeks that you're looking forward to in terms of modes?
No, my favorite modes were gone by week 2. And now I'm just trying to somehow snatch a win like today, but obviously it didn't work out today, but I got 2 wins for us so far, so I've done my part. The rest is just extra points, I guess. But I'll probably have at least one more race, I think, and that's gonna be cool because that's the co-op spoiler log race. I look forward to that, and I think we might win that. But you never know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, GG's. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we cut on out here?
I'm sorry I couldn't get the win for us, but I think I played decently, and I don't know. I think we still have a small chance to qualify for the next round, so we'll try our best.
Well, good luck to you on that. I'm hoping to see some great races from you guys in the future. But yeah, that'll do it for us. Again, there's plenty of league action out there. There's a couple races going on right now on Speed Gaming 3 and the ALTTBR League main channel. Those are looks like about an hour and 20 in progress, so not sure how much is left in either of those, but I have been HXC Jetters, and is there anything else that you would like to add before we head on out?
I do want to give a quick recognition to the other folks behind the scenes, Iker on the track, and Math Girl, of course, with the restream. Thank you guys so much. And I've been Vitasia. That'll do it for us. We'll see you guys at the next race.